Mr. Schaub, sorry for your loss.
Alright guys, welcome back into the Bapaverse. I am Hectic, and for those that are new, all we just like to do here is look at the Fighting the Kid subreddit, look at some of their top rated clips, and we talk about it a little bit. So let's get started. Let's do the first one. This one is when Brendan was talking about Al Pacino's wife. Very messed up thing he said. Let's go to that clip. This one's called Brendan Schaub is the biggest piece of shit in every facet.
So his kids suffer from
Ugliness.
They suffer from very bad immune disease. They
Click on the one of the with him with the glasses. The nurse one.
What do you mean? This one?
Brennan.
Yeah, that one.
Brennan.
Ain't that a bitch? Just hold on. Ain't that a bitch? You're Al Pacino, and that's your squad.
Is that his son?
God, wait. You know what, Al?
Nice.
You've had a good run, right? He goes, I sure have.
His children.
I'm gonna give you the two ugliest kids on the planet.
No, stop saying that. Listen, there's a bad pictures. They had rheumatoid arthritis.
You know what? You're right.
But
It's the angle. No, you're right. It's the angle.
Yeah.
Notice how nobody else is laughing in that room.
You're Al Pacino, and you just wake up and you go, fuck, dude.
That's their mom.
Which warlock you talking about?
Bring up.
Look, Brendan, yeah, not a good picture here. Brian trying to save him there, telling him, hey, bro, she's got a condition, stop. And he just keeps going. He thinks he's got a bid here. He thinks he's got a good bid going on. But the problem is you can't do that. It's not something you should do. Like, especially for someone who has said, hey, in this particular subreddit, I don't like it when they pick on my wife, they pick on my children, and I agree with him. Don't do that. But when you do this, you start attacking somebody else's wife and those children. You said it yourself. You don't like it yourself. You don't like people doing that to you. Brendan says, hey, direct that target on me. Don't go after my family. But this guy doesn't seem to have any boundaries himself. He's crossing this boundary, and when you cross that boundary, you're gonna be enabling people to go after you, and that's what the subreddit has done. And there's this one pic of him. There's a pic of his wife there, and it's not really much like they're leaking it or they're like hacking her stuff. It's just posts that she does on her Instagram, and then people repost them here on Reddit, and they roast the hell out of her. And if Brendan would see these things, he'll probably cry. His wife will cry. Everybody will be crying together. Because I'll show you the comments, but before we do that, let's go to the Brendan saying, hey, don't attack my wife and my children, just to show the hypocrisy that this man has.
It gets a little dicey when they want to. I don't understand when they cross the line when it gets into my personal life.
Right.
It's like, I'm not Tom Cruise, dude. Why the fuck you give us? Who cares about that stuff? And thank God my wife, she's been with me since I was in the UFC. So when you're fighting UFC, you get a lot of love, you get a lot of hate. There's no in between if you're doing it right. So she's conditioned to that. She doesn't pay attention to it. She doesn't care, at this point. So thank God for that. But the only time I don't like is when they make it super personal. It's about the kids. It's about, certain things. But, nobody's harder on me than myself.
And look, I think we all agree. Don't attack don't attack children. Don't attack people's wives. But this dude, it goes one ear and out the other. It's only role for us, but not for him. But I'm not saying I should do it. I'm not gonna do it, but I'm gonna show you some of the comments that they said about her, and it's not pretty. Here's the title: We can hate on Mexican all we want, but the thirst traps not so bad. Now this is a picture of her. She posted herself. She doesn't like that bad. She's a mom. But, the internet's savage, man. They are savages. I'm just going to read you the top comment that they left.
For your loss.
But that's all I'm going to say, because I'm a gentleman, and I don't want to cross those boundaries. But when Brendan does this, he's enabling people to go even harder. because a lot more people love Al Pacino more than Brendan. And, he says, oh, I'm not Tom Cruise. But even still, Tom Cruise's wife doesn't deserve to be bullied, or his children. And he's like, oh, yeah, I mean, no, nobody does. Nobody's family deserves to be attacked. And when you do it, and you got, all these people on the subreddit having plenty of time to do something silly, they'll do it. Just a warning.
We're spending your life.
Next one we got with Rappaport and Brendan Schaub and Brian Callen. This one says Brendan gets verbally gutter stomped. So I'll explain to you a little bit more about this.
Because LeBron needs someone to dish it out to.
You're kind of dressed up like LeVar Ball today. Like, how old are you, man?
Yeah, man.
I know.
How old are
I know.
you, bro?
You know what? When I stepped out of my purple Porsche today, I thought, fuck you, Brendan. Fuck you, bro.
You have on a
It's
straight
unbelievable.
up
I know.
stoned wash.
Nobody attacks Brendan harder than Michael Rappaport.
Like,
I do.
Brendan, you're getting too gassed up on your E channel.
Dude.
Let me tell you something.
I haven't worked in a hot minute. I hear you, though.
Okay, but check this out. Check this out.
Now, careful. I work for Bravo.
Bravo.
I know that those your boys.
And I'm gonna tell you something right now.
Don't make me make Andy Cohen go bad on you now. Me and him text.
We're good. We're
Me and
good.
him are good.
No, we're good too.
Okay.
We're good
Well,
too. And I'll
I'm
tell
just
you
saying
something.
one tax.
What?
One tax.
One tax and what?
What, tax him?
You know what it is? A lot of people.
One tax him. He's gonna get taxed. What's going on? Rappaport, I think Rappaport just didn't understand what the heck he said.
A lot of people probably want to bed him down at Bravo. But from what I've seen, I would imagine a lot of the men and the women.
No, but he's all that bed him down at Bravo and E, and he's like the fighter, and he's got and it's like, I'm a fighter. I haven't fought in 10 years, yet I still have this fucking deformed ear because I want everyone to know that I'm a fighter.
Well, I can't do
Here's the fighter that reports drama on E.
I want to get the ear fixed because I want people to still think I'm tough. I'm not tough.
What can I do?
But what he's doing
can I do?
Drain that fucking thing.
Hey, he's sensitive about it.
We're in Hollywood.
No.
If you spend all that time, if you spend as much time as you did on that ear as you did on these goofy fucking outfits, you'd be better off. Fix your fucking ear.
Hey, man.
Dude, you dress like a stepdad in Highlands Ranch.
I've worn the same thing.
He
If you
earned
cut
that.
to,
You dress like a stepdad.
He earned that ear.
what's your name? Chin?
Yeah.
Talking about the Kettle Black.
And what's your name?
Cat.
Cat. If you look
Cat
at
and
every
Chin.
single
Easy,
time I've
bro.
come on this show.
All right, so I was looking at the comments, and one of them mentioned that the reason why Brendan doesn't want to take his cauliflower ear, well, because he said right there, because he's a fighter, and it's like a badge of honor or something like that. But Rappaport makes sense. Like, hey, you're not a fighter anymore. Quit. Quit it. Take it off. Drain it, and you can drain it. They can drain it. So in the comments, somebody exposes Brendan here and says that Donald Cerrone, they had him a while back, and so he pointed out that basically Brendan tried really, really hard to get a cauliflower ear, Steve-O style, when he was like, getting punched in the ear and looked horrible, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't as horrible as Brendan did. He was just doing the wrestling, but without the headgear and stuff, and he purposely wanted to look like a fighter. So here's that clip.
Boy, Juan has maybe got the worst ears I've ever seen on a human being. Yeah. I mean, in other words, just they look very, very weathered.
Those are the worst. Yeah, that might be.
You make Randy Couture.
This one looks like a tortellini. His just look like. I mean, they're just enclosed.
But
He's
Juan's is like real hard work. Yeah. Schaub was just like rubbing it, trying to get it.
I would go home and do it.
He wanted to have
he wanted the tough guy.
I would take a phone book and pliers and
your ears have held up pretty much. I mean,
not really.
He's got
It's a bit of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
dude,
there you go. He exposed him, man. Purposely rubbed on his ear to get that cauliflower effect, huh? So all this time, Brendan could have just removed it, but it's just a style choice for this man. It's rocking a style, a fighter style, with looking like a high schooler, and also had like like fucking 10 years of wrestling, but still looks like an 18-year-old. It's like, what the heck, man? Talk about earning the cauliflower ear. Here's Leela Lover with almost 317 upvotes. I'm glad he mentioned that terrible outfit. Brendan looked like a kindergartner who picked out his own outfit for the first time. Yeah. I don't know. I don't really care much about the fashion sense either. Rappaport also looks like another, high schooler. They both look like high schoolers. Let's be honest here. Callan is the only one that looks like kind of his age. But yeah, that's it, man. That's all I got from this is that, Rappaport always just roasting on Schaub. And that ear, man, that ear was a choice.
Mr. Schaub.
So Theo goes on the most recent episode of the JRE, Joe Rogan Experience, and they talk about Chris D'Elia. Here's a post with 1.5k upvotes. Theo Vaughn throwing strays at dler on the new episode of JRE.
Like a 20-year-old adult or like a 30-year-old adult? It gets exponentially creepier.
Yeah.
Right? And like if you just graduated and you're 18 and your girlfriend is 17, that shit is completely normal.
Yeah.
But if you're 19 and she's 17, people start to look a little sideways. That extra 12 months makes a big difference. If you're 20 and she's 17, people will get very upset with you. Even in places where it's legal, where it is legal in a few places, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, and
Because
if you are 35 and she's 17, you can't be a comedian anymore. I'll tell you that.
Are you sure?
I don't know. I don't know. Who knows? I mean, who knows, bro?
Who knows?
I don't know.
But it's weird, like what's legal versus what's okay. Like
So
a
here's the funny thing about it is that people are debating whether Joe Rogan understood the joke or maybe he was just playing along with Theo, kind of guessing he got the joke, or maybe he just did get the joke. He has not invited Chris D'Elia on his show again. Joe's or Spotify deleted all of Chris D'Elia's episodes from the Spotify library. Can't find those. A lot of them you can't find. Specifically Alex Jones, controversial people. Maybe that's who they target the most, or keyword words. Because I heard Kyle Kalinske, he's like a political guy, and they said they talked about like someplace like Saudi Arabia or somewhere like that, and his episode was taken out. So yeah, it's quite controversial there, and Chris, I'm sure, Rogan does not want any piece of him, doesn't want to interact with him, is not even trying to mention him. And Theo left the fighter and the King and the Sting, and he was kind of already on his way out for that year. He was missing a lot of shows. He was coming in via Zoom. Seemed like he was just not into it anymore. But when he was there, he put his best. He tried to do his best and, try to, make the show funny. And with his audience, it brought views to the King and the Sting. And eventually, it seemed like Brendan and Theo already knew they were going to separate. And at the same time, Chris was struggling because he got exposed, and so Brendan helped him out, put him also in the show, maybe also kind of like realizing he could be his replacement, but at the same time, Theo wasn't leaving yet, so it became like the King and the Sting in the wing for a little bit. But I'm sure Theo was always planning to leave. So just so happened he had to work with Chris, maybe didn't like that, and probably made him, it probably made him dislike Brendan a lot more. I would consider Theo being more of a stand-up guy who would, take, accusations like that more seriously. Maybe that's why he hasn't really been with Brendan, except for that time he said he went to his kid's birthday party. But, it's more about the kid than Brendan. And, we haven't seen him since. It doesn't seem like they're talking, so who knows how their relationship is, because they were working for a long time. Chris seemed to be like the person who broke their bond, you know, whatever bond it was, it worked for them. You know, they did have a show for a long time, but eventually Theo went his own separate way. But then now we talk about Joe. You know, he has this, or we have this understanding that he doesn't understand certain things, and people tell him certain joke, and it goes right over his head, his 5'6" head, and you know, I feel like it's kind of like that thing that, you know, Bert Kreischer said. It's like, you know, they got the comedian mind, and then we got the pedestrian brain. I don't know, maybe Joe is in a higher level than all of us, and he's thinking more comedically, and maybe that joke wasn't, you know, he just didn't understand it. Maybe he didn't get the reference, because I feel like this reference is from what Elia said. And like, if they were 17 and like it kind of mirrored the same thing that Elia said.
If you fuck someone under, well, let's just be conservative, 17. I think that's the lowest it goes in America. And you're your age, then you would call it pedophilia because, well, it's pedophilia. It's like looking at a sandwich and calling it a sandwich.
So I feel like that was the thing he was referencing, but maybe he understood it because of Chris, that certain comedian who should get canceled, you know, should you get canceled from comedy. But yeah, that's all we got to say. You know, let me give you that let me give you that clip of Bert getting laughed at by Stravros.
A comic's brain is so different.
Let's end this with this clip here.
A comic's brain is so different than a pedestrian's brain. And like, what, you know, like, I can't help.
Pedestrian is so funny, by the way.
Oh,
Like saying that.
I said to a woman the other day.
It's better than civilian.
Yeah.
That drives me crazy. It's like, we're not in the fucking armed force. Let's fucking relax.
There's a lot of people that overuse that
They really
civilian.
do. It's like, we are fucking so lucky we get to do this bullshit.
Yeah.
Any person on the street I respect more than even my favorite comic. Let's get that out there. Is that like we give so much less to society than a janitor.
A comic's brain.
Woo! That Stravros gave him a reality check, man. That's just golden, man. The way he shut him down. It's just like, Bert, what are you doing? You're making us sound stupid. The people that you want us to buy your tickets. Like, you can come up with jokes, but we can't. What's the deal? You know? It's not our job to do it. It's your job to do it. But, you know, sometimes these guys don't even understand certain jokes. Like Joe. Joe's got the podcaster brain, and jokes fly over his head. So, you know, all right, guys. I'm done here. Let me know what you guys think. Give this a like. Give this a subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time. Laters. Bye-bye.
A comic's brain is so different than a pedestrian's brain. And like, what, you know, like, I can't help.
Pedestrian is so funny, by the way.
Oh,
Like saying that.
I said to a woman